I'm pretty happy with that, but it's not been a straightforward story to get to this point. It's involved quite a bit of heartache, quite a bit of rethinking, and quite a lot of cardboard butchery. So stay with me as I go through how I got here. Hi, welcome to WMD, that's Woody's Modelling Diary, and I'm with my last great project OO gauge layout. If you've watched some of my previous recent videos, you'll know that I've been doing a fair amount of scenery work on one of the baseboards using these scenic sub bases, and all in all I'm quite chuffed with the way that's come out. Unfortunately, I'm not so chuffed with this, which does look like a misshapen shoebox, and despite it being planned in my head, and that probably wasn't the right place for it to be, it's not quite turned out as I want it. I think it's a bit too tall. I'm not happy with the orientation of the angle of the tunnel mouths to the track. Those two loops at the back open out into 4 loops, which become the hidden sidings. The inner loop leads onto that station area, and that goes on the outside, and that's okay, but I just can't live with this, so I'm going to have to make some changes. I think the basic shape and structure is right, but I've just got to amend it a little bit just to try and fit into the area, and that's sometimes what we have to do. It's not worth living with this because it just won't look right, and forevermore I'll be thinking I've got it wrong. So I'm going to do a few little bits of alteration to it, and we'll come back and see whether what I've done has actually made a difference. Excuse the chaos of my workbench, but this is another one of those reasons why these sub-bases really do save a lot of hassle. This is a bit of cardboard butchery. I'm having to cut some height off it. I'm going to have to cut those struts as well. I've cut out where the tunnels go, but it's off the bench, it's off the layout and on the bench, which makes it so much easier. You can turn it around, move it, manipulate it, get it into a position that you want for carving, cutting or whatever, and you're not making a mess on the layout. So I'm pleased that I've built these as sub bases. So plenty more to do. Let's get on with it. So following quite a bit of hacking of cardboard, creation of quite a bit of mess off the layout on my workbench, I've come up with this, which makes it look a little bit less like a oversized odd shaped shoebox, and a little bit more like something you'd find constructed by railway engineers. The tunnel portals and that supporting wall between them are just temporarily stood in place at the moment, because the next stage is going to try to beautify it with some brick papers and try and make it look a little bit more like a structural engineering part of the railway. So we'll see how we get on with that. Using some Metcalfe brick papers, just got a sort of initial covering on first, and sprayed the top of the sort of structure grey just to take the whiteness away. Still lots more to do, but it's beginning to look a little bit more like something you'd find on a railway. So this is one of those moments when you think, why don't I take up another hobby? No, but seriously, I thought I'd got the design of this right, and I was happy the way things were going. As you can see, I've done a little bit more hacking on this tunnel portal, and the reason is that things are just too tight. And whereas a 75-foot coach will go through, it is just too close be anything prototypical. So, what do you do in a case like this? Well, you sit back, you think about it a little bit, and I think I've got a solution. But it does entail more cardboard butchery. So we'll see whether my ideas actually work. This will be the third attempt. Third time lucky. We'll see. Come back once I've done a bit more hacking and see whether it's going to work. Well, about 2 weeks on from the last segment of this video, my third time lucky solution appears to have worked this time. I've got some tunnel portals I'm happy with. The clearances are still a little tight, but a lot better than they were, and I can live with those now. All I've got to do now is dress this up with some parapets, supporting walls, some details, and a bit of weathering. And then that should be finished. It's been a bit of a hard slog, this one, but we'll come back once we've got the detail on. It's about a month since the last segment of this video, and this hasn't gone as quickly as I hoped. I did hope to have this all finished sort of beginning of February, really, but as you'll have seen from the video, there were various problems, some of which I should have foreseen, but we've got there in the end. I think in the last video I left it that I was going to put on some various adornments to make it look a bit more interesting and railway-like. So we've got these coping stones, which is just strips of cardboard, and the joints in the stones are just pencil lines. We've got some capping stones there on the piers. They are again just some cardboard. The brick papers as Metcalfe brick papers, quite bright, but benefit from toning down. So I've just airbrushed some sort of earth tones on, and also some marks over where the locos, either steam or diesel, would have their exhaust, or the soot coming out of the funnels. So that adds a little bit more interest. I'm reasonably happy with it. It's not my greatest ever construction, and I will remember this for the issues it's caused me, but you learn from these sorts of things. So if I were going to do this again, I would do it slightly differently. I'd probably use foam board as the main sort of structure instead of cardboard. But other than that, it's there, and you're probably thinking, what are you going to be doing with this top bit, Woody? To be honest, I don't actually know at the moment, because it will basically feed on into the rest of the layout. So depending on what I do over the hidden sidings will determine what goes on top of that. But in the meantime, it just gives me that sort of finish to the rest of the scenic work. Going back to it, and I keep saying this, and you'll probably get fed of me saying it, but building these things as sub-bases as well as the various scenic sub-bases has been a blessing, because I've been able to take this off the layout, work on the workbench, and it's just been so much easier. So it's something that you might want to consider, even if you build it as a sub-base and then glue it down when you're finished with it. It's going to be easier doing it on the bench than it is on the layout. Anyway, there's not a lot more I can say at the moment about this, apart from let's see a few trains run. Just before we do see the trains run, just show you this, which is the box of carnage from my cardboard butchery. All of these bits were involved in the construction of this. There were some obviously abortive bits, but a lot of trimming and cutting off of bits and adding of bits. and that's what I've ended up with. So it just shows you the amount of, I suppose, time and effort which has gone into this. Anyway, let's get to the track. Hope that was of interest and of use. If nothing else, it shows just how things can go wrong, and things go wrong for me quite often, but the secret is, as Phil Parker says, how to bodge your way out of it. This one, as I say, has been quite interesting, and I've learned quite a bit from it, which is what the hobby is about. I was going to have finished all of this by the end of February. I've still got to ballast the track and do a few other things on this board here, but in general things are moving on, which is always good. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to watch this. Thank you very much to those of you who've subscribed or left comments. It's very much appreciated. Never expected, but it always surprised me when people subscribe, but thank you ever so much. Really does mean a lot to me. So I'll just say, you take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again when hopefully we'll have another update on where we've got to with my last great project layout. Take care of yourselves. Bye.